Our international dorm had 2 rules taped beside every elevator. No local students, no American guys. Each unit was a studio. 1 queen bed, 1 key, 1 name on the contract. That semester, my friend swore she had a blonde American roommate. She said it so casually, for so long, that all of us believed her. Until the night we finally went into her room and realized there wasn't even space for a second person to sleep. Looking back, that's when I first understood you don't need flickering lights or slamming doors to have a haunting. Sometimes it starts with a rule on a wall and a girl who shouldn't exist. The city where I studied nursing wasn't a horror movie town. It was a small, polite Midwestern city, the kind with wide streets, big skies, and people who say sorry when you bump into them. There was a mall, a Walmart, a tiny Asian grocery store, and more churches than bus routes. The university rented an old 2-story apartment building off campus and turned it into International Student Apartment. From the outside, it looked like every other brick rectangle in the neighborhood. Inside, the rooms were surprisingly nice. Queen-sized bed, small desk, wardrobe, little kitchenette with a stove that hissed, private bathroom. No bunk beds, no roommates. For most of us, it was the first time we'd ever had a room all to ourselves. On move-in day, the building manager met us at the door. She was in her 60s, hair in a tight gray bun, navy cardigan, clipboard in hand. "Welcome to International Student Apartment," she said. "I'm Mrs. Carter. I live on the 1st floor. You need something. You come see me before it becomes a problem." She walked us through the usual. Quiet hours, no smoking, no alcohol, no overnight guests. Then she tapped a separate sheet with 1 finger. No local students, no American guys. A German student laughed. "Are American guys so dangerous?" he asked. The group chuckled. Mrs. Carter didn't. "It's a liability issue," she said. "This building is for international students only. It keeps things simple. You'll thank me later." Her tone said, "Don't ask again." There were 4 of us from Taiwan that semester. Me, April, Christine, and Mandy. We met at orientation and instantly stuck together, the way people do when they hear a familiar language in a strange place. We all had English names, so that's easier for others. I was Jessica. April was tall, outgoing, always in a hoodie and ponytail. Christine wore glasses and never took off the little cross under her shirt. Mandy had the best English and the worst sense of direction. Our rooms were scattered along the 2nd floor. Mine was near the stairs, close to the staircase and the kitchen. Christine and Mandy had rooms in the middle. April got the one at the very end of the right-hand hallway. The first time we walked her down there, the motion sensor lights were slow to wake up. A stretch of carpet stayed dark for a few seconds before the light hummed on overhead. "End of the world," Mandy joked. "So far." "Haunted corner," Christine said lightly, but I saw her rub her arms. April set her suitcase down and grinned. "Then all the ghosts are mine," she said. "You 3 can fight over the living people." We laughed. It was that kind of night. The building filled up over the first week. You'd hear accents from everywhere. Spanish in the laundry room, Korean by the mailboxes, Russian and German on the stairs. There were students all over. Europeans with blonde hair. A girl from Germany, 2 from Russia, and an exchange student from somewhere in Eastern Europe. One more blonde girl shouldn't have stood out. But she did. I saw her first, on a Tuesday night after a late study session. The hallway lights blinked on in segments as I walked. The familiar hum, the delay, the next circle of light. At the far end, by April's door, a figure was standing with her hand on the knob. She had short blonde hair, chin length, and a faded t-shirt. From the back, she looked completely ordinary. I assumed she was just another European student. "Hi," I called. "Are you new here?" My voice sounded too loud in the empty hallway. She didn't move, not even a flinch. I slowed, a bit embarrassed. "Hey," I repeated. Closer this time. You okay? Nothing. She turned the doorknob and slipped inside April's room without once glancing in my direction. The door closed softly. The light over it clicked off. For a second, I just stood there with my hand halfway up, like an idiot who had waved at a wall. Headphones, I told myself. She's got headphones in. Or she doesn't speak English. Or my high is weird. I tried to forget it. 2 days later, I saw her again. Same place, near the end of the hallway. Same short blonde hair. Same t-shirt. This time she was walking away from April's door, head down. Hi, I said again. Sorry if I startled you last time. She walked past me without a blink. The air around her felt cooler, like she was taking the cold from outside into the hall with her. When I turned to look, the light over that stretch of carpet flickered, and for a heartbeat, her shape looked thinner, flatter, like a reflection on glass. Then the light steadied and she was gone. The four of us met for hot pot, at one of the only Chinese restaurants in town that actually advertised hot pot. We went there after our first exam. The owner, Mrs. Lin, was Taiwanese. We found her because we heard Taiwanese coming from the kitchen, and practically ran inside. She took one look at us and said, "You're from Taiwan, aren't you?" Then ordered 3 extra side dishes we didn't even ask for. We were halfway through the spicy broth when I remembered the blonde girl. "I think your neighbor is rude," I told April. "Short hair, always standing by your door. I say hi, she ignores me every time." April blinked. "Which one?" "Blonde, t-shirt, jeans," I said. "Isn't she in the room next to yours?" April sipped her tea. "Oh," she said, like it explained everything. "That's not my neighbor. That's my roommate." The 3 of us froze. "You're what?" Mandy said. "We aren't allowed to have roommates here. 1 person per studio. That's the contract." "I know," April said quickly. "Don't tell Mrs. Carter, okay? Julie? Couldn't afford to live on her own. She's working 2 jobs while going to school, so I let her stay with me. I think Mrs. Carter's just pretending not to see. It's complicated." "You share your bed with her?" I asked, trying not to sound as shocked as I felt. "The bed's huge," April said. "We're not children. It's fine. She works nights at 2 diners. I barely see her. She's nice." Her voice softened on the last word. "American?" Christine asked. "Yeah." "Local," April said. "She's lived here her whole life." Mandy sat back. "So the building has a rule taped on every wall. No American guys, no local students. And you somehow ended up with a local American roommate?" April laughed helplessly. "She's not a guy?" We teased her after that. "Secret girlfriend," Mandy said. "Secret love," Christine added. "Shut up," April groaned, throwing a napkin at us. "She's just a roommate, and she's shy. Don't freak her out more than she already is." That night, walking back to the dorm, I couldn't tell if the cold prickle on my arms was from the outdoor wind or from the idea of sharing that end of hall room with a woman nobody else seemed to notice. By then, Christine and I had both realized we were sensitive, but in slightly different ways. Christine's sensitivity felt like static in the air. She'd get goosebumps when we walked past certain corners, or suddenly go quiet. Mine felt more like gravity. Certain spaces felt heavier, as if the room was full even when it looked empty. We kept most of that to ourselves. We didn't want to be the weird ones in a new country. But the girl at the end of the hall made that harder to ignore. One afternoon, Christine and I were carrying laundry down the hall together. As we turned the corner, the light over April's door flicked on. The blonde girl was standing right there. Her hand hovered over the handle, fingers not quite touching the metal. Her head was tilted, like she was listening to someone on the other side. "Hi," I said, relieved to see her again. "Julie, right? I'm Jessica. We're April's friends." Beside me, I felt Christine tense. The girl didn't move. No startled glance. No, oh, hi. It was like we were speaking from inside a movie, and she was watching from the outside. Julie? I tried again. Something changed, but not in the way I expected. Her head lifted a little, like a puppet pulled by a string. Her face turned slightly in our direction, but her eyes didn't land on us. They were focused on some point behind us, or through us. Like we were glass, and whatever she was looking at was on the other side. A thin smile, almost apologetic, passed over her face. She opened April's door and stepped inside. The door closed, the light clicked off. Christine's laundry basket slipped and thumped against her leg. You saw that, she whispered, didn't you? Yes, I said. My voice sounded thin, even to me. For a moment, we just stood there, both of us staring at the dark door at the end of the hall. The light above it flickered once, then went still. That was Julie, I said finally. It has to be. April said her roommate's name is Julie. Christine's mouth pressed into a line. I know, she said. That's what's bothering me. She glanced towards the elevator sign, the one we'd both seen 100 times without thinking. Jessica, she said slowly, this building doesn't allow locals, no American students, no local roommates. It's on every floor, every notice board. She swallowed. So how is there a local girl living here long enough to share a bed with April, and the only person who's ever really seen her is April? Her words dropped into my stomach like stones. The semester rolled on. We had quizzes, projects, assignments, midnight noodles. We learned which microwaves in the shared kitchen still had their turntables, and which stoves lit properly. International student apartment became familiar. The squeak of the front door, the timing of the water heaters, the way the hallway lights woke up a beat too late. Under that, the wrongness stayed like a hairline crack in glass. April mentioned her roommate in little fragments. Julie says the diner coffee is terrible, she'd say. Or, Julie told me to be careful with American guys. She says they're trouble. We still hadn't officially met her. We'd never seen her in class. Never in the common kitchen. Only in the hallway, unresponsive, always heading toward or away from April's door. Then, near the end of the semester, the dorm scheduled a fire drill. Mandatory, Mrs. Carter said, knocking on our doors. Everyone out. All units open for inspection. We shuffled out into the parking lot in coats and pajama pants, half asleep, breathing little white clouds into the cold. There goes my study time, Mandy muttered. Think of it as cardio, April said. We stood in a cluster, hugging ourselves against the wind, until the Mrs. Carter gave the all clear, and everyone started filing back in. On the stairs, April slowed. You know what's funny, she said. What? I asked. You've never been to my room, she said. Not once. All semester. It was true. We always hung out in my studio, Mandy's or Christine's. April's room at the end of the hall had become this vague, distant place in our minds. The farther corner, the shy roommate zone. Come now, she said, forcing a smile. It's stupid you've never seen it. Just a quick look. You can't graduate from here without visiting the queen bed of secret love. Mandy laughed. Christine didn't. But none of us wanted to be the one to admit. We were scared of a normal room, so we went. The lights woke up, one by one ahead of us, as we walked down the hall. The last light over April's door flickered twice before settling. April unlocked the door and pushed it open. The air hit us first. It wasn't a smell. It wasn't cold. It was pressure. Like stepping into a crowded elevator where everyone has just stopped talking. The room felt occupied, even though we could only see the four of us in the doorway. Everything looked ordinary at a glance. Queen bed against the wall. Pinkish blue duvet pillows. A desk with a laptop and textbooks. Wardrobe door half open, jackets hanging. There was no second mattress. No futon rolled up. No extra blanket. No second pair of shoes by the door. Christine's hand shot out and grabbed my sleeve. "Jessica," she whispered. "This room feels crowded." She was right. My chest tightened. The hairs on my arms stood up, as if someone had just breathed on the back of my neck. I scanned for any sign of another person's life. An extra toothbrush, different style of clothes, or a suitcase that wasn't April's. The bathroom had one set of towels on the rack, one toothbrush in the cup. The closet held clothes exactly the style I recognized as hers. "Where does Julie keep her stuff?" I asked, trying to make my voice sound normal. April stood in the middle of the room, turning slowly, like she was seeing it through our eyes for the first time. "She hates clutter," she said automatically. Then her gaze snagged on the single toothbrush, the single towel. She must keep her things somewhere else. She's barely here. It's fine. You're all being dramatic." Mandy tried to laugh, but it came out thin. "It's not the clutter," Christine said quietly. "It's the someone elseness." We knew what she meant. It felt as if someone was standing right behind us, breathing down all our necks at once. "Anyway," April said too loudly, "you've seen it now. Room tour over. We should go eat." She took a step toward the door. Behind us, the door swung shut with a sharp slam. Not a breeze. Not a gentle click. A full-bodied slam that made the frame shudder. Mandy yelped. Christine's cross-chain clicked against her throat as she flinched. My heart climbed straight into my mouth. We all turned at once. The door was closed. No one was there. "Okay," April said again, her voice suddenly high. "Okay, very funny physics. Let's go." We practically tripped over each other getting out. The second we stepped into the hallway, the air felt lighter, like someone had opened a window. As we walked away, the light over April's door hummed once and went out, leaving the end of the hall in shadow. None of us made a joke on the way back. We didn't leave April alone in that room after that. "Sleep here," Christine said that evening. She patted the spare mattress she'd dragged from the storage closet. "Floor, bed, whatever. Just not there." April protested on reflex. "I can't abandon my room. My clothes, my notes. They're not going to grow legs and walk away," Mandy said. "We'll get them in the daytime. Together." That night, all four of us were in Christine's room. April on the mattress on the floor. Christine in her own bed. Mandy and I squeezed sideways at the foot, half on, half off. We talked too long, eyes stinging from exhaustion and nervous laughter. Someone made instant noodles. Someone else burned the first batch. Eventually, the lights went out. I don't know when I fell asleep. I know exactly when I woke up. Voices, 2 of them. At first, I thought Christine and April were whispering. The sound came from right above me, near the head of the bed. One lower, one higher. Like a conversation that had been going on for a while. My throat was dry. I hadn't said anything. The room was dark, but not completely. A strip of orange streetlight leaked through the curtain. It sketched the desk, the wardrobe, the edge of the mattress where April lay. April was on her side, facing away from us, breathing slow and even. Christine was flat on her back, mouth slightly open, dead asleep. The voices were still going. I couldn't make out words, only rhythm. The lower one was soft, coaxing. The higher one answered in murmurs, just shy of tears. The tone was intimate. The way you talk, when it's 3 a.m, and you're too tired to pretend anymore. My skin prickled. I couldn't move. It took a long time before I managed to lift my head an inch. I looked toward the sound. On the edge of the bed, where the mattress dipped slightly, there was the impression of weight. No outline, no face. Just the sense that someone was sitting there, shoulders bent forward, leaning over April. The hair on my arms rose like static. My heart hammered so loud I could hear it. I squeezed my eyes shut and stayed that way, not daring to look again until the room was gray with morning. The dip in the mattress was gone. The air was still. Only 4 sets of breathing and the hum of the heater. I don't know how long I lay there, listening to my own heartbeat. In the morning, Mandy said she'd slept fine, just a little warm. Christine rubbed her temples. I had a headache all night, she said, like someone kept turning a dimmer up and down. April just looked tired. I dreamed I was talking to someone, she said, frowning. But when I woke up, I couldn't remember who. We didn't know any monks. We didn't know how to draw talismans. Our families were across an ocean. So we did what Taiwanese students abroad always do. We went to the people who cooked like home. The next day after class, we went back to Ms. Lin's restaurant. You girls look awful, she said. Exams? Something like that, I said. We didn't tell her everything. We said April's room felt wrong, that she was having bad dreams, that we kept seeing someone in the hallway who never really looked at us. Mrs. Lin listened with her arms folded, lips pressed together. I'm Christian, she said finally. I don't encourage ghost stories. We nodded, feeling stupid. But, she added, my pastor blesses water for hospital visits. I can ask him for a bottle. It's just water with a prayer. If it makes you feel safer, sprinkle a little in your room, okay? We promised we would. Before we left, she scribbled an address on a napkin. A Chinese grocery on the other side of town. Tell Mr. Jiang I sent you, she said. He has incense and food paper your grandma's like. Don't burn the building down. Mr. Jiang's shop smelled like incense, cardboard, and home. When we asked about those food papers, he didn't blink. Foo? For protection? Good. You girls sleep better that way. He went to a drawer and pulled out a neat stack. For students, he said, tearing off a few. Far from home. I won't take money, just don't waste them. That night, we taped one foo above Mandy's door, one above Christine's and one above mine. We poured a little holy water into a bowl and flicked it at the corners of the ceiling, at the mattress where April slept, at the space near the bed that had felt too occupied. I don't know if anything changed on the other side, but the air felt lighter when we were done, like someone had opened a window we hadn't seen. A few days before the end of the semester, we went to see Mrs. Carter under the excuse of asking about checkout times. Her office smelled like coffee and old paper. A small TV in the corner whispered the afternoon news. On the wall behind her, the sign from move-in day was pinned up again, a little more curled at the edges. No local students. No American guys. Mrs. Carter, I asked, can I ask you something about the rules here? She narrowed her eyes over the rim of her mug. What about them? The sign by the elevator, I said. No American guys, no local students. Has it always been like that? She let out a long, tired sigh. No, she said. We only put that up a few years ago. Before that, it was looser. Locals, internationals, everyone mixed in. It got messy. Messy how? Mandy asked. Christine hesitated, then said softly, Is it because something happened? With a local boyfriend? Mrs. Carter's fingers tightened around her mug. For a moment, she just stared at the steam, as if deciding how much of the story to tell. There was a girl, she said at last, American, lived on the second floor, end of the hall. Her eyes flicked up, just enough for us to know she meant April's end. She was a good kid, worked nights at a diner, studied during the day, always exhausted, but polite. Then she got herself a local boyfriend. Older, loud, bad attitude. He started showing up at all hours, fights in the parking lot, neighbors complained. I told her he couldn't stay. She said she understood. She swallowed, the muscle in her throat jumping. Then one night the police called me, she went on. Said there'd been an incident off campus. Car, river, bad road. The kind of thing people call an accident so they don't have to think too hard about it. After that, I changed the rules. No locals, no American boys hanging around. I wasn't going to have that happening in my building again. My mouth had gone dry. "What was her name?" I asked, even though I already knew what I wanted to hear. Mrs. Carter hesitated, just a heartbeat. "Julie," she said. "Julie Thompson. Sweet girl. I still get the odd piece of mail for her, even now. People don't update their address books." She nodded toward the recycling bin by the door. "Sometimes old flyers get mixed in with the junk," she added. "Campus notices, safety warnings. They put her photo on one of those once. Said students should be careful going home at night." Her mouth twisted, as if she didn't already know that. I glanced at the bin. Under pizza coupons and supermarket ads, I could just make out a strip of newsprint. A blurred grayscale photo of a young woman with short blonde hair, smiling a little too shyly. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. I already knew who it was. As we stepped back into the hallway, the corridor stretched out in front of us, lights humming softly. The air felt heavier, as if the building itself had been listening. At the far end, where the carpet always looked a little darker, I imagined a girl with short blonde hair standing by a door that now had April's name on the lease. April went home at the end of that semester. Her language program was only for a few months. We helped her pack textbooks, winter coat she'd bought on sale, a folder with class notes and handouts. "Do you remember when you first told us about her?" I asked, tapping the edge of the paper. April frowned, eyes on the print, but not really seeing it. "I remember saying I had a roommate," she said slowly, "but it's like a bad recording. I know I said the words. I just can't feel the memories behind them." She rubbed her forehead. I almost asked, "Do you remember the voices?" But I didn't. We took her suitcases downstairs together. Miss Lynn from the restaurant had come to drop off dumplings for her flight. She hugged April the way an aunt would. "You come back visit," she said. In the parking lot, as the airport shuttle pulled away, April looked up at the second-floor windows. For a moment, I could have sworn someone was standing behind the curtain of the end room, just a pale shape, watching her leave. Then the bus turned the corner, and the building was just brick and glass again. We never had a big ending for this. No priest came with bells, no dramatic exorcism, no moment where a voice screamed and the lights blew out. We did what we could with 20-year-old courage. Shared rooms, burned a few papers, sprinkled holy water from Mrs. Lynn's church on doorframes that felt too cold, too watched. Then the semester ended. April went home. Christine moved in with her boyfriend. Mandy and I moved to another apartment that summer. Life went on, but something stayed. If you ever stay in a dorm with strange rules on the wall, or you feel your mattress dip like someone just sat down beside you, just be polite. Say hello. Tell them they're not a burden, because some of them are just waiting for someone to notice they were here.